All right, so for this one, it's 1 to 5 while and if else structures. So you're gonna write a code where you can use while. You use while to create a loop that will repeat forever or for a certain number of times. And then you can use if else structures so that if one condition is met, uh, then something will happen to the robot. So, for example, like if I press the limit switch, so this is the limit switch. If I press that, um, something will happen, like either the motor will turn on or off. And then the else is if I let it go, then it will turn on or off the motor. Okay. So this is in replacement of putting uh, a code that is, you know, like if you press the limit switch, it will turn on the robot, or turn on the motor, and then release the limit switch, and then it will turn off the motor. So this is a faster way of coding, in short, and it's a better way of coding. Okay, so and it is more advanced. So we're gonna do part one and two and three on this video. So let's begin. So for part one, step 11, um, I want you also to follow along with here in PLTW website. So get to here through your portal, click on PLTW Engineering, click on our course. You're going to go to Unit 1, and then you're going to go to 1.2 Control Systems. Um, we're not using VEX V5, so please make sure you don't click on that. So click on that Control Systems. It should say Robot C on all of these. So on the left side, you're looking for 1 to 5 while and ifs else statements structures. All right. So on the first part, they told you build a test bed. We did that already. We're gonna create this one later on. This file. We have our coders. This is all the setup. We've done those already, so we don't have to do them now. I'll explain the rest of these on the video. Um, okay, as we make the code. So just keep your screen on this one on number 6 because I believe this is the one you're gonna copy later. Okay. All right. So how do we begin this? So for part one, step 11, what we need to do is we need to open a file. Actually, any of these files will work, but let's do the 124 part 6. Use that one and open that one up. We're gonna overwrite this. I'm gonna click File, Save As, and we're gonna call this 125 part 1. Okay. I'm gonna click Save. Actually, is that part 2? Probably didn't save part 1, huh? Yeah. So this is part 1. Okay. So for this one, using um, while and actually, yeah, and while and if statements. Okay. A125 part 1. Okay, we'll just change the date today. Mine is on the 3rd. Here, 5 task description. Let's go back here and look for the task description. Step 11. So we're gonna use this to get to step 11. So let me fast forward to step 11. Um, okay, so what we want to do is okay, we're gonna use the light sensor to turn on the flashlight on and off. So let's go back to our code. task description, use the light sensor. I'll use a line follower to turn on and off the flashlight. Okay. All right. Pseudocode. Let's change this pseudocode right here. Let me see. Let me double check here. This one's a little bit more advanced, so I have to make sure. Okay. Um, so we're gonna say like we just go run forever or indefinitely, and then um, oops, sorry. Oops, did I do this right? Oh, there you go. So we're just changing this um, instead of if statements. You see how there's two if statements here, and we have if else instead. Okay. So uh, if the sensor value for the line follower is we'll say low, it's below a certain number, or it's above average. We'll say I'm gonna capitalize average. It's going to be a different number for everybody. It's above average. The flashlight will turn on. Okay, we'll say greater instead of above. And then here, I'm gonna just copy and paste this. And if the line follower is that value for the follower is less than average, the light sensor will turn off. There you go. Okay. All right. And delete all of this. Now we'll start the code for 125 part 1. So what you want to do is you need to go to so instead of copy and pasting what's shown here, instead of copy and pasting this, I'm going to show you where to get them. Okay, so it's actually better that way, so you know where to get them next time. So you're going to go to natural language. Actually, not natural language, control structures up here. And then you're going to go to natural language. It's not there. So we need to go to control structures again. And you see where it says while. Make sure you drag that between these curly brackets. So you're going to drag that. Okay. Now, while structures, so the code will go here where the body is. And here, we're going to change this to something that is always true. What's always true is that 1 is equals to 1. However, as far as coding goes, we have to put another equal sign. So it's 1 equal to 1. So you know that's always going to be true. So if that is the case, then whatever's in the body will run, okay, until you turn off the robot. So it's going to run indefinitely. That's what it says on the pseudocode, make this code run forever. So for the body, we're going to do the if statement. So we're going to go to control structures again, open that one up, if statements. We're going to put in, so we're going to delete the word body first. And then we're going to drag this where it says if else. Okay, this one right here. Okay. Um, let's try this one, third one. Let's see how that looks like. Kind of don't like it. Actually, yeah, that's actually pretty good. Yeah, that's what we want. Okay, so it was the third one right here. So the condition is this. Um, with the sensor value, so you have to type it. In this case, you have to type this. You can't really drag and place this. Um, a line follower is greater than a specific number, which is the average. So for you, it's going to be different for it's going to be different for everybody. Okay, so we have to get that value somehow. So what I'm going to do right now, I'm going to save this work, and I need to open another file, the one that says testbed setup. Well, actually, any of them will work, but for me, it might be easier to use the testbed setup because there's no code here. So what I want to do, I want to upload this, download this program, and open up the debugger window. Okay, I need to make sure to have the sensor tab, and then the line follower is working. Make sure this is under continuous. Right now, if it's uncovered, I'm gonna pick a number between those that's jumping around. I'll say 3050. Okay, 3050. Oops, my light just turned off. Okay. All right, so my number is 3050, 3050. Now I'm gonna cover it with my hand, and I'll just pick a number. It keeps changing, so I'll say 850. Okay. So my other number is 850. Okay, what I need to do now is add these two numbers. I get 3900, right? So for 3900, I need to get the average and divide that by 2. Okay? If I divide that by 2, just to make sure I get this right, I'm going to use my calculator. 1950. So the 700 that they use there, that's actually pretty low. So you probably don't want to use that 700. And you don't want to use this 1950 because mine is different. It kind of depends on the lighting in the classroom and where you're sitting. There might be a shadow, so it will affect your readings. So make sure that you do this process that I showed you to get your own average value. Okay. So now I'm done with this part. I don't need this setup anymore. I can go back to, I can close this one. And so my value now is 1950. So it says that if the sensor value for the line follower is 1950, what we want to do is turn on the flashlight. So I'm going to delete this statement here. I'm going to go to natural language. I think special, turn on flashlight. Okay. Make sure you don't delete that semicolon right there. Actually, we can delete this one because two. We just need to put the name of the flashlight port. So we call it flashlight with a capital letter in my case. And brightness goes up to 127. Okay. Or else, if the sensor value is not this number, it's not greater than 1950, if it's equal to or less than, then in this case, we want to turn off the flashlight. So we're going to delete this part right here, this statement, and we're going to replace it with this. And we just put flashlight. Okay. Now, we're going to test it out soon. So this is going to run forever. If my line follower is reading above or greater than 1950, the flashlight will turn on. If it's less than, or if it's not greater than or equal to, then the flashlight will turn off. Okay. I'm going to compile the program. You have no errors. Fix formatting and click save. And then we're going to click and download to robot. Okay. This is my flashlight. Actually, I forgot to tell you about the flashlight. I'm going to give you a flashlight like this one. What you want to do, insert this and make sure the red is on the right side. We insert the flashlight, the red wire. So if you're facing this way, make sure it's on the red is on the right side. Okay, so you have the flashlight here. I'm gonna click start. So the value right now is greater than 1950. You see right here? That's why the flashlight is on. So it's greater. Right now it's at 3054. But if I covered the line follower, the flashlight will turn off, and this will keep repeating, and it will run forever until I turn off the robot or remove the battery. Okay. So in a way, this is a very simple light sensor, like an outdoor sensor. If it's dark, the light will turn on. If it's light, there's light outside, the light will turn off. So I guess this is opposite, because if it's dark, it turns off. Okay, so that is 125 part 1. Okay, all right, I'm gonna stop it. So there you go. All right, so we're gonna close this one, and we're gonna move on to part 2. Okay, all right. So right now we're gonna do 125 part 2. So I'm gonna scroll down. So you can see here that you can put 2 if statements if that's what you want to do. It works the same way, but in this case we just put a if else. It just shortens the coding just a bit, and there's less stuff to type. Um, Step 14. Let's do step 14. There's some pseudocode that we have to write. So let's go ahead and set this up. Go to File. Go to Save As. And we're going to save this as 125 Part 2. Okay? And we're going to click Save. I'm going to replace my old file here. Okay? We're going to change this to Part 2. Let's see what we want to do in this one. So in this one, if I press the limit switch and the sensor is blocked, then the flashlight will turn on. If the sensor is not blocked here, then the flashlight will turn off. Okay, so if I press the limit switch, like a light switch right here, I press this light switch here, and see the limit switch there, and I press this or I cover this, that means the room is dark. That means the flashlight will turn on. But if I let this go, then the flashlight will turn off, or the light will turn off. However, if I let this go, then the light should turn off also. Okay, even if my hand is here. Okay, even if this is dark. All right, so let's do that. So it's gonna be a little bit more than the other one. So what we're gonna do is gonna be to put a while condition. So this is the program task description. We're gonna copy this and paste it. Okay. And pseudocode is this. Make the code run forever. We're gonna delete this one. We want Um, oh, press the limit switch. Um, and light will turn on if the okay. Press the limit switch and light will turn on if the line follower senses dark. Um, and then we're gonna do the same thing here, but we'll do the opposite. Press the limit switch, and light will turn off if the line follower senses. And then, um, if the limit switch is is not pressed, the flashlight will turn off. Okay. All right. So that's our pseudocode. Okay, we're gonna delete this. We're gonna use that while loop again, but let's redo it again so you get practice. So go to control structures again, and drag this while loop here. Condition, it's 1 equals 1. Okay, we're gonna run forever. But we want another while code there, while structure, because we want to put a condition that needs to be followed. Okay, so we're gonna delete the word body, and we're gonna put another while right between these two brackets. Okay, so on this one, we're gonna put sensor value, limit switch, parentheses, or close parentheses, equals 1. Okay. All right. Let's see. And oops. Then we're gonna put an if statement after that. Okay, that's the one I'm forgetting. So we're gonna delete the body. We're gonna put an if else statement. So let me double check. All right, if else statement. So we're gonna go to if statements, the third one. We're gonna put it right between these curly brackets. Okay, under condition, we're gonna put sensor value. So now this is the value for the line follower. And then, so you put a parenthesis inside a parenthesis in this case. Let me change that to capital F. Right. So after the parentheses, oops, I'm going to put the greater than value of 1950. That's my average earlier. Okay. This one doesn't have semicolons, if you notice. So if that is the case, so while 1 is equal to 1, which is always true, and then while the limit switch is pressed down, which is not always true, we have if this is true, if it's pressed down, then we have to follow this. The robot has to follow this. So now we're going to do a statement here. We're going to turn on the flashlight. Actually, I'm going to delete that semicolon because I'm going to get a new one. Go to natural language, special, turn on the flashlight. Okay, I'm going to say flashlight, and brightness is 127. And then we're going to turn off the flashlight if the sensor value is not, if the sensor value here, the line follower, is not met. So we're going to turn off the flashlight, and we'll just call it flashlight. Okay. All right. So what will happen if um, so if this is true and this is true, then all of this will be met, will happen. Okay. However, if this is not true, then we want something else to occur. So if the limit switch is not pressed, then it skips this code right here and then goes to the next code. So our next code will be turn off the flashlight. Okay. So what happens is this. This is always true. So he's going to go to the next step and see if this is true. If this is not true, none of these will happen. What he'll do is he's going to jump to this next code. Then after this code, he's going to go back to here, check for 1 equals to 1, and then check if the limit switch is on, it's pressed, and then it'll just continue the cycle. Okay? All right. I want to compile the program, fix formatting, save, and then download to Robot. I'm going to press start. Okay. All right. Flashlight is off. Oops, sorry. Accidentally clicked on the keyboard. Okay. If I press this, the flashlight should not turn on while it's on. So what I'll do is this. I'm going to change that greater than sign to less than sign. Okay. So let me stop this. Go back to my code. File it, save it, and download again. Because I want it to turn off when I'm pressing on the switch. And there's nothing here, and there's nothing blocking this light sensor. So we're looking at the flashlight. If you look at my video, look at the flashlight. We're using this line follower and using the limit switch. Okay. So if I press the switch, the flashlight is off because there's light. But if I cover this, then the light turns on, right? If I uncover it, flashlight is off, on, off, on, off. So there's like a sensor seeing if it's dark. If it's dark, let's use the light. If there's light, let's save energy and keep it off. However, I don't want to keep it hold this down. So if I let go, it will turn off the flashlight. Okay, actually, let me do that again. See that? But if I turn off the switch, I'm going to let go of the switch, it will turn off the flashlight. Because that's what the last code is for. Okay? So as long as I'm holding it down, there's a chance that this flashlight will turn on. Okay? All right. So that's activity 125, part 2, step 14. This will be there will be a second video to do part 3 because this video is kind of getting long. Okay. All right. Thank you.